So this example tells you that, sometimes, okay, you get more input, you can get much more in return. But not everything is as easy as making boxes. Okay, so for example, we have an airplane, small one, 737, right? And then the big one, 747. Of course, 747 can take about 350 passengers, many people. And here, maybe 120 to 160, depends on the, the inner arrangements. But it is much more expensive to make 747, okay, than 737. So, and big means, you have a lot more things to be careful about, okay, in terms of technology. You may have to use much more difficult technology, much more expensive technology. So what is the biggest airplane, passenger airplane in the world? Chen is right. What is the biggest passenger airplane in the world? It's made by Airbus. Do you know it? Wang Jingyu, you know it? Li Yunxiang. It is called A380. It can take 600 passengers. And you know what? The technology is much, much more expensive and very difficult to make. And where is it now? Because of the pandemic, few people travel by air, right? And you have to take in 600 people to fill the plane. So the market is already gone. So as far as I can tell, there is only one airliner left using A380. And the rest of it is gone. So it could be history again. It could be history soon. Okay, so we deal with increasing returns to scale. And you know that it's not quite realistic, because you can put more and get much more out of it. What should you do? You should keep expanding, and you end up owning the whole world. Okay, only one company in the whole world. It doesn't make sense. And for decreasing returns to scale, you put more and get less. Okay, for a rational person, it doesn't make sense. You put more, get less. So what should you do? You should put less to get more. And every time the same logic applies. So you put even less to get even more. And so what is that it's all gone, right? You don't put anything in there. So the only makes sense is constant returns to scale. This is the only thing that makes sense. Okay. But we're going to deal with some other issues here. So let me put it here. So let us say we have a production function. Okay. Let me keep this here. So let us say the production function FLK is equal to L to A's power and and K to B's power. Okay? So we want to put T times the labor and capital. So we have FTL TK equals, because L is now TL, right? So TL to A's power, TK to B's power. So what do you have? You have T A's power, L A's power, and T B's power, and K B's power. And then to simplify it, it will be T A plus B, okay, times L to A's power, K to B's power. Okay, so what's special about this? Because here, A plus B is very important, okay? So if, let me put it here. If A plus B is equal to 1, what do you have? If it is equal to 1, so you put T there and you get T out of it. So what is that? That is constant returns to scale. Okay, if A plus B is equal to 1, it means it is constant returns to scale. If A plus B is greater than 1, what is that? Increasing returns to scale. If A plus B is less than 1, it is decreasing return to scale. So there are such kind of exercises in the book, okay? Because we only have one more session left, so we don't have time to discuss the homework. So, the next week, okay, we will discuss a little bit of the homework, but I try not to put, too difficult questions in the final, okay? So here, A plus B is very important in terms of determining whether it is constant returns to scale, increasing returns to scale, and decreasing returns to scale. Okay, let's get back to the book. Okay, so here is Isoquant. We won't emphasize too much of it. Next semester, okay, when we get started, I will deal with all these things again, and then use mathematics, okay, and calculus. Okay, so here are the, diagrams for Isoquant. Okay, so specialization. As I told you, right, there's one example that you may have increasing returns to scale. Making boxes, okay? A small box and a big box, okay? A box with 1 cubic meter and the other box with 8 cubic meter, okay? In terms of volume, you get 8 times more, but in terms of cost, you only get 4 times. That's one of the possibility. The other possibility is specialization, okay? When you do more, okay, when the market expands, you can use more efficient approaches to make products out of it, okay? But I have just told you, right? If you can keep expanding it and you keep getting more out of it, really it doesn't make sense. So it's a returns varying proportion. Because we say, if you're gonna use the idea, returns to scale, all factors of production, all inputs have to be in the same proportion. Okay, it has to be in the same proportion. So inputs are very important, their amounts and proportion is the same proportion. Okay. So anyway, let's forget about this part. Okay, now we're getting to cost. I believe I mentioned some of the idea about cost, but let me do that again. Okay, so you have total cost is equal to total fixed cost plus total variable cost. And if we divide it by Q, so TC, total cost, divided by Q, TVC divided by Q, TFC. TVC divided by Q. Okay, so you have ATC here, AFC here, AVC here. And suddenly you have marginal cost. So marginal cost is DTC, DQ, right? Okay? And so it is D TFC plus TVC and DQ. So actually, because TFC is a fixed number, right? So if you differentiate, it's gone. So it is dTVC dQ, and this is equal to marginal cost. So what does that mean? If you want to know marginal cost, you don't need any information on fixed cost. If you just know TVC, that is fine, because it's the variable cost. And marginal cost, of course, is a variable part. And so if you want to know marginal cost, the things that really matter to you is TVC. Okay? And basically, we can also use diagram. So it will be the next semester. We're going to deal with in mathematics, calculus, okay, how a company, how a firm maximize profit and what kind of condition that you're going to get. And also using diagram to show. Because when we talk about a firm, to maximize profit, MR equals MC is only one part of the story. The other part is you need to, so this is first order condition. You need to have second order condition. So if I'm going to show you, it will be like this. So pi is profit, right? Profit is equal to TR minus TC, okay? And dQ d pi, right, is equal to dTR dQ dTC dQ. And here is MR minus MC, right, equals 0. But this is only the first order condition. You need to have second order condition. So it has to be dQ dMR and dMC dQ less than 0. Second order condition has to be less than 0 so that you have profit maximization. If it is bigger than 0, greater than 0, it is the opposite. It will be the smallest profit. Okay, so that's, but usually at the undergraduate level, I won't have any question to test you on the second part. Okay, you need to only make sure that this is true. That will be fine. Okay, in the questions. Okay. Okay, let's move on. Some of the terms are not quite important, but of course, economic cost is what we care about, right? We say we are only dealing with opportunity cost, and that is economic cost. Rental rate, forget about it. Sunk cost means you have already spent something, and usually you don't deal with that. So, for example, if a company purchase a machine, you already bought it. So what really matters to you is how to use this machine. It's not about the money, because the money is already gone. Okay, short run total cost. Basically it's like this. So W, right, is the wage rate, and L is labor, and R, is the price of capital. And usually we assume, capital is the fixed cost. Capital is the fixed part. So the textbook use a little bit different kind of notation. So notation, because here I said TC, right, and it says SRTC means short run. If it is short run, you have fixed cost. If it is short run, you have fixed cost. If it is long run, everything will be fixed. So you have total fixed cost, total variable cost, short run total cost, average fixed cost AFC, right? Average variable cost ABC. So look at the table. Let's see this. So remember, when we talk about production, it will be input. And now we are talking about cost. So it's output, the cost of your production. So you have 0 unit to 12 units, And fixed cost, of course, is the same all across. So even your production level is 0, right? Still you have fixed cost. And up to 12 units of output, the fixed cost is the same. And variable cost is there, right? So when the production level is 0, because you don't have any inputs there, okay, except the fixed cost. So when the production level is 0, VC, variable cost, is 0. And then you have 30, 49, and then there. And short-run total cost, okay, here is the fourth column, right? So it is 2 plus 3. So this is what you get. And you're going to check short-run marginal cost. Okay, marginal cost, when the production unit is 1, you have 30, right? When the production level is 2, you have 49. So what does that mean? That means the second unit of cost, marginal cost, is 19. And then the third one, 65 minus 49. So we get 16, etc. Okay? So you can tell, at a certain point, the marginal cost is going down, right? And then increasing. So we have increasing marginal cost. And average fixed cost, this one is easy, right? When it is 1, okay, 50 divided by 1, and then 50 divided by 2, 50 divided by 3, and etc. Okay? And average variable cost is the third column, right? The third column divided by the production unit. So 30 divided by 1, you get 30. And 49 divided by 2, you get 25.50. And 65 divided by 3, you get 21.67, etc. Okay? And then short-run average cost is this one plus this one. Okay? So basically, I'm not sure at this point, but in final, I may have some question like this. You fill in the blanks. But on the one hand, it's too simple, right? So I'm not sure at this point. But this is how you calculate marginal cost, average cost. So you need to know all this, okay? Okay, and you draw a chart, it will be something like this. Okay, so here you have marginal cost, and here you have short-run average cost, and AVC is here, AFC is here. So you can tell the distance, okay, between short-run average cost and average variable cost is smaller, smaller, and smaller as the production level goes up. Why? Question. This is, okay, this line, right? This curve is short-run average cost curve. And this curve is average variable cost. The distance between SRAC and AVC is smaller and smaller when production level goes up. Why? Why the distance? You know, the distance here is so big, right? So big, and now smaller, 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 smaller. Why? 曾毅涵，曾毅涵举手。黄千勋 ，Why the distance between SRAC and AVC is smaller as production level goes up? Excuse me? Because AFC is smaller, smaller, and smaller with production level goes up, right? So you see, AFC is very high here, right? And then it's going down, going down, going down, going down. As a matter of fact, SRAC is equal to AFC plus AVC, right? And so, because the production level goes up, okay, TFC divided by Q, right? So Q goes up, the whole thing goes down. And so the distance between SRAC and AVC is going down, okay? Okay, so we have talked about this before, right? A few minutes ago, okay? So A plus B actually is a very important factor to determine whether this production is constant returns to scale, increasing returns to scale, or decreasing returns to scale. Okay, A plus B, that's important. Okay, and so here is another diagram. So you have variable cost like this, and you add the fixed cost there, so you get the short-run production function. Okay, so another example. So there's an application, but I don't think we have time to talk about it. So this is short-run marginal cost, and you talk about region 1 and region 2. So there's another idea. This idea is called economies of scale. Okay, economies of scale. That's different. What we have just talked about is called constant returns to scale or returns to scale. Now it's economies of scale. Economy of scale is related to average cost. Okay, if Q goes up, okay, if Q goes up, average cost goes down. That is called economies of scale. So this part, okay, to the left, production level goes up, right? Cost goes down. So to the left, that is the economy of scale. To the right, production level goes up, what happened? Cost goes up, right? Average cost goes up. So that's this economies of scale. So to the left, economies of scale. To the right, this economies of scale. And this is iso cost, okay? And the slope is negative W, that's wage rate over the price of capital. So we, last week, we also discussed this before. And the same thing, right? You want to get an optimal solution. The optimal solution is when Isoquant, okay, intersects with the iso cost. Okay, Isoquant intersects iso cost. So what you have is MRTS. Okay, that is the slope of Isoquant equals to the slope of iso cost. Okay, so basically you have something like this. Okay, at different stages, at different prices, then you have different solution, and this is called output expansion path. O means output, E expansion, P path, output expansion path. Of course, you know, at different prices of the factor and different production level, you use different combinations of input. Okay, sometimes you may use labor more. Sometimes you may use capital more. Okay, so let us say the OEP, the output expansion path, it turns to the right. Okay, let us say it turns to the right. What does that mean? That means you use labor-intensive technology. Okay, if you turn to the right, it means you use more labor, right? Okay, so that would be labor-intensive technology. If you turn to the left, okay, you use more capital, right? That would be capital-intensive technology. So output expansion path, okay, it talk about the locuses, okay, of different combinations of input that you use. Sometimes you may use labor more, sometimes you may use capital more, then you have labor-intensive technology or labor-intensive technology. Okay, so basically it tells you, you know, the whole story, and you know, there's a difference between short run and long run. In terms of short run, okay, in terms of short run, you know, you have fixed cost. So you always have to stick to this kind of technology. But supposedly it is long run, then this capital level is no longer the limitation. So you can expand your use of capital. Okay, so short run and long run, there's a difference. Okay, in the short run, you have to stick to this capital level. In the long run, it's not there anymore. This is called envelope curve. Basically, this is about calculus. Okay, so usually I just briefly discuss it because a little bit complicated. So. Okay, so let us say in the short run, you're going to maximize profit, right? Maximize your production given the capital level, okay? Given the capital level. Remember that when we talk about consumer, right? We maximize utility subject to budget constraint, okay? Maximize utility subject to budget constraint. And now later on, we can, change the production level. Okay, here is the short run solution. But given every kind of different capital level, okay, here, I don't want to discuss it because, it's not very easy. But, here we have different kind of production level. So you can get that kind of, so here, it is the short run, right? Short run average cost curve. And you use different kind of production level, so that's different kind of production capacity. So, and trace all the locuses there, then you can get this long run average cost curve. So basically, you solve this question for the short run, but at different capital level, okay, at different capital level, then you can get the long run average cost curve. Okay, let's move on. So I told you, right, economies of scale and diseconomies of scale. So here, okay, it is the long run cost curve keep decreasing. Okay, this part keep decreasing, so that's economy of scale. And this part keep increasing, right? So that's diseconomies of scale. Okay. The difference between returns of scale and economy of scale is that for return to scale, the factors have to use in the same proportion. Okay, the factor have to be used in the same proportion, but it's not the case for economies of scale. You can use any combination of factors of production. Okay. Oh boy, it's gone, right? So anyway, so we still have some time left. So what about this? So next week, I think we should spend time discussing homework. Okay, so because all the materials that we talk about will be in the test, right? So, okay, let's check what is the homework for. But you don't have to hand it. You need to work on it, okay? You need to work on it though, but you don't have to hand it. So let's check. So turn to page 206. Page 206. So the first part is self-test problem, right? So self-test problem 1, 2, and 3. Okay? Got it? 1, 2, 3 self-test problem. And then the questions and problems for review. Okay? Question 3. 207, question 3. Let me see if we want to know question 1. Okay, anyway. 3, 4, 6, 7, 9, 10, 15, 16, and 19. You know, as a matter of fact, there are a lot of other issues that I haven't talked about, you know, on the cost and production. So